I've got some super sad news. Our friend Todd Harris, who plays Megil on our stream, he passed away on the weekend. He took his own life. And so we're all super devastated. And I had to do something, so I'm singing this song in his memory. And if you're alone or you're depressed, just reach out. There are people around you who would help. When you try your best, but you don't succeed. When you get what you want, but not what you need. When you feel so tired that you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. When the tears come streaming down your face, because you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone but it goes to waste, could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. But high above or down below, when you're too in love to let it show. But if you never try, then you never know. Just watch your worth. Lights will guide your home and ignite your bones. I will try to fix you. Tears stream down your face when you lose something you cannot replace. Tears stream down your face, and tears stream down your face. I promise you lights will guide you home and ignite your bones. And I will try to fix you.
Aye, I play Solkad Megil Austin Anitari. He's a wood elf from the forest. Ardeep. From Ardeep. He's a ranger, an outlander, but he's a little different than most wood elf rangers. He likes to fight with swords and aspires to be a blade singer someday. And he's become good friends with Vorder over here.
Yeah, we get along pretty well.
Aye, we both like to kill things.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 30 of, thought I'd get through the intro, of Sentinels of the Storm. It's going to be a bit of a different stream tonight. We lost a really close friend and player, and we wondered if it would be too soon to go live and do this just a week after his passing, but we felt that Todd would want us to go on and continue doing what we do and pay our respects to him in this way. And so it's not going to be your typical stream, so those of you that are expecting a D&D game full of laughs and inappropriate jokes, that's not what's going to happen tonight. What we're here to do is to honor fallen brother and raise awareness for suicide prevention and just share stories about Todd and the way that we remember him, and we will continue to remember him moving forward. I'll get through this. We'll also have a bit of an in-game role-play session where characters will be able to say goodbye to Megil, who, for those of you that are watching, I know a lot of friends and family are watching. I know Todd's sons are watching. And so, obviously through D&D, we all play characters in a world that is all made up and fun. We roll dice in order to determine stats and to determine the outcome of things. And he played a character called Megil in our game, who is a Wood Elf Ranger. And the other players around the table also play characters that adventure with him along the way. And so they'll have the opportunity kind of to say a goodbye as well in character. There will be many tears tonight. There will be lots of laughs, lots of stories told. We have some clips of Todd playing and some funny things that we've put together to remember him in the way that we want to remember him tonight. We have had an incredible outpouring of support. We started a GoFundMe last week, just after he passed, to raise some money for his family, for the funeral, and for his sons who are left without a father. And we've surpassed our goal as of yesterday of $10,000. And so we want to thank everyone who supported us, people that didn't even know him, tons of fans of ours, giving large sums of money just to support for what he did. He made everybody laugh. He always had a smile. And we're super thankful that he was a part of our lives for as long as he was. That GoFundMe is still live. If you go to Gofundme.com, look up In Memory of Todd Harris, and you can still donate. Every cent over and above funeral expenses go to his sons to make sure that we do as much as we possibly can. It won't be enough, but at least hopefully it'll help through some difficult times and into their future. Also moderating is Rebecca, who moderates for us every week, and we're thankful. And so if you guys have questions or comments throughout the night too, I'll be watching comments as well. So if anybody has stories to tell or memories that they have of Todd, I know his whole LARPing community is watching as well. And so we just welcome everyone tonight in this tribute and celebration for Todd. I want to say hi to the players around the table. Hey everyone. We've set up Todd's spot with his stuff in honor and to honor him. It's been a really rough week for all of us, so we're not the usual smiles that we usually are. Todd played a huge part in Realm Smith and what it is today. If it wasn't for Todd, we wouldn't be here. 2 years ago at a random party, Todd and our friend Dale and I sat around a table and said, hey, we haven't played D&D since we were 13. Hey, we should try that again at 30, whatever it was. Late 30s. Mid to late 30s. Mid to early to mid for Todd. Anyways, you get the idea. And we sat around at a party. We said, hey, we should play. We should play. It'd be so much fun to bring that around. And so we sat in my basement at the time and around a little folding table and decided that we wanted to start playing D&D. We played a number of sessions, and then that turned into a larger group, and we moved to a backyard at Mel's house. And then we played a bunch of sessions there, and then we said, and then Joel came along and he said, hey, we should live stream this. And so then we started live streaming. I started doing tutorials, and then here we are. And all of it is because Todd and his love of D&D and role-playing and all things fantasy. So he will always be in our hearts and on our minds, and he is a founder of Realmsmith and will always be a part of us. Yeah. This is where we open it up. You have some clips, right, Dave, that do you want to do that? Do you want to go right into there, or do you want to...
Or do I? Yeah.
It's going to be very casual tonight, folks. We are literally just buddies sitting around having drinks to remember Todd tonight with all of you, and so that's what we're here for. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, I only played. I guess once we split the streams, I stopped playing in Todd's group. But I had a good 6 to 8 months, I guess, of like us playing together, which was really cool. It was a lot of fun to watch back over all those original episodes, and so many funny moments. And so I picked out some of kind of the really the moments that showed his RPing, his role playing, and his character development, and also a bit of his personality. So the first one.
Actually, you know what? Before we go into that, I love that. Do you want to do like earliest memories of Todd? Can we do that?
Let's do that.
Because you just touched on that, and that would be awesome if each of us can have like earliest memory of Todd.
Okay, I'll go first. So, I remember those first games back in the backyard. I played one short session with you, where you introduced me to the whole concept and brought over some little tiles.
Yeah, you'd never role played, played D&D, had no idea what it was. Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
And you walked me through okay, so you hear this sound and you whatever, what do you do? And it was so much fun. So I fell in love with that game right away. And I guess the first time I played with him was in that backyard. I'm walking a very fine line with what I say, so I don't start crying.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I'm not gonna avoid that tonight.
yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. But that was yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I can share my first time. My first time was meeting Todd was at Jay's house in Milton. It was in the garage. Actually, you guys were already kind of sat down. I'd come into the garage to just produce the first kind of live streams, and I remember thinking, man, this is going to be interesting, because just they knew each other as players already, and I didn't know any of the other guys other than Jay. Like, you were the only one I knew. So I was kind of the noob, and I was holding a camera most of the time. It was remarkable to me how much Todd was, even that first night, just into his character. Like, so into his character. And so I would continue, obviously, to learn that he's very much into acting and role playing, and really loved Dungeons and Dragons and LARPing and all that, and acting. So that's my first memory of Todd. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of my first memory of Todd. It probably would have been around the same table in the backyard, and same idea. I knew you and nobody else, and luckily some other Jeff had recently vacated.
That's right.
They said we need another Jeff.
Yeah.
So I got the call.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty funny now thinking about how when you called and said, "Hey, do you want to play D&D?" And I thought, not really.
He still doesn't really
Every
want to.
Monday.
I'm still not sold on this. I'm not sure this is the right thing for me, but
That's good.
I'm thinking, well, I don't really want to play D&D, but it would be nice to see you, once or twice a month. So that was my initial foray, and then meeting Todd and sitting down next to him and watching him play, and two things occurred for me fairly early on in that first experience with Todd, and one of them is one that all of you have already touched on, and all of us will touch on, and that was his dedication to his craft, and the intensity with which he applied himself to his character. And there were moments where I was having out-of-game discussions with him, and I'm pretty sure it was still Megil.
Yeah.
I was like, Todd, you can... We're talking about movies now. You can, right? And then the other one, and again, this has been mentioned before, and certainly at the memorial for the Underworld Memorial, which happened on Saturday, Sunday night, was that when he began speaking as Megil, my first thought was, what is that accent? I can't quite
Place it.
place it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's Cockney, and then it's Southern, and then it's London, and then it's something, I don't know what the hell it is. Turns out it was Finnish. And it just, and I thought to myself, I just picked a breathy Stewie from Family Guy. That was the voice I went with, Roscoe. And I of course I had Jinx prior to that, and listening to Todd and thinking, this guy is incredible. He can blend accents. We're still not sold on whether he did it on purpose. Whether he was purposely going, I'm going to switch to this now and then this now and keep everyone guessing. But regardless of whether it was on purpose or not, it was fantastic to listen to. And it provided, you always knew when Megil was talking, because there was the accent, there was Roy. He always started with that.
Var. Wait, he said var.
And then the phrase that I incontrovertibly associate with Todd Harris and Megil is pass without a trace.
Yes.
I have heard other people say it, and when they do, I think that's Todd's phrase. That's, you don't get to say that. That's pass without a
That's
trace
so true.
is Megil. And
So let me just interject that we went to his a memorial with his LARPing folks last night, and they had a ballot and they were raising funds for the GoFundMe or whatever, and they gave away a magical item. And the rule for the magical item is that if you use it in game, you have to speak 3 different accents simultaneously in and out. So it wasn't exclusive to D&D. He did it at LARPing too. It's really funny.
Can I add a phrase to
Yeah.
that?
yeah,
Is
please.
that the phrase that I remember him always saying was not to be pandantic.
And
Not to be I don't want to be pandantic. You are
Completely
epitome.
awash.
Yeah.
So.
It's great.
yeah.
I have some people in the chat saying Todd always smiled. That's how I'll remember him.
Yeah.
And he was. And Rebecca Woodbury, who is our moderator, said that she based her ranger off him and followed it every week. And so every time she plays, she thinks of him.
Cool.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I used to think the paladin was a pretty cool character until I found out what pass without a trace was, and I was like, son of a bitch, I should have been a ranger.
PG stream.
It's all good. Todd wasn't so PG, so it's
No,
okay. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Another thing that reminds me a lot about Todd is just, so we did the Todd tutorial is what we called it, which is the painting tutorial where he goes through his Hero Forge mini painting, and there were a number of different times in that kind of tutorial that were interesting, but one in particular, as I was watching back through it, was that he really wanted to paint. Like he really wanted to. Jay did a lot of the painting, and you could see him over and over again, kind of going like, "Hey Jay, like, is it gonna be my turn? Will I get to do some of the painting?" And so he really loved, obviously, the whole that side of it. He really loved, but also behind his back, and he didn't know this, but we broke like,
I don't know how many times we broke it.
how many times?
And I glue it every week.
5.
At least 5 times.
There's still arrows missing out of the ground
Yes, exactly.
that were part of that base.
His mini is definitely the most damaged mini of all of the minis.
I'd
The
like to
arrow
be
on his bow
Hender
is
in the
gone.
most damaged mini
This
realm.
just happened.
Hero Forge, not a sponsor, makes some great minis, but if you drop them, they will shatter. So I think both of Megil and Balabar are mostly crazy glue and paint at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Just a blob of paint.
he just fell from the table to the ground, and both of his ankles broke.
It's kind of like his in-game character.
Yeah.
Not very...
Yeah, if he fell from 1,000 times his own height, his legs might break.
Yeah.
It's a known flaw of gnomes.
It's a gnome
They're not
flaw.
good
It's
with
a
heights.
gnome flaw. Yeah, it's a gnome
It's a
flaw.
gnome flaw.
Dave, when you say that your character is
Here we
crazy
go.
glue and paint, was it crazy and glue and paint?
Yes, those 3 things.
Okay.
Those 3 things,
I was
yeah.
thinking for.
In which case,
Not to
you-
be pedantic.
In which, no.
To be pandemic.
We did.
Brandon.
On a production
Actually,
level,
though.
Yeah.
on a production level, Todd was the hardest laugh to control.
Oh, God.
Listening, I would be
Yeah.
in the car with Kevin watching our last stream or whatever, you know, and just all of a sudden this blaring or a crit baby. You're like, oh. I look over at Kevin, blood's pouring out of his ears.
It's so loud.
Oh man, yeah,
Oh, it's so loud.
Yeah, passionate guy.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything
Well, I can't.
he did, he put everything,
Yeah.
all he had into it. You know, he's making his cosplay outfits. You know, he'd get right into character every time.
Yeah. Even when he built that kit, so he was hell-bent on becoming the scribe for our stream, and so I have it there. He built a box with like a notebook and a quill that he built, and like ink wells and like sand for drying the ink and blotting it up, and it lasted probably about 2 sessions because the book only has like 2 sessions of notes, and then he realized, okay, maybe this is a bit difficult, to do,
Yeah, he
and
was
to
like,
keep it going.
He was legit trying to get it done with the quill.
Yeah, it was
He's got all the
pretty.
ink
It was,
cartridges and everything.
yeah, it was pretty incredible. But yeah, he put his all into it, and he really wanted to dig in and dive in.
He's a real legit guy.
Yeah.
Like, come on, drank from a drinking horn every time. He built that.
I know.
Yeah, and not
He
like
built
one of the
the
cheater
holder.
horns
Yeah.
that
The
we have.
holder.
Yeah, he did. He was so proud of that foam holder. He was
Why,
so
it's
proud of
still
it.
doing its job.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Now that thing would always leak and
Yeah.
stain the table, but
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
A for effort,
Yeah.
right?
yeah. And I'm pretty sure drinking from that horn, you might need a tetanus shot at this point because there's some
It's got a
interesting
bacterial
collection.
infection.
around the rim.
Yeah, he found.
It has soft tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when you built that the dice
rolling
rolling
tower.
tower, and thinking, wow, Brandon is like several levels above the rest of us in terms of intensity, and then Todd showed up and
With-
like, hey, Brandon, congratulations on your silver medal. We're all playing for bronze now.
Yeah.
Brandon reminded me that Todd, from one session, he brought in arrows, like his quiver,
Yeah,
and he put it on the
Brandon
back of his chair, and every time he'd get up, the chair would fall backwards because of the weight of all of his weapons on the back of the chair.
He would
It's
leave
like,
to
Todd,
go to the
Todd, it's role
washroom.
play. It's not LARPing. We
And I'd
we
have to
don't
hold
need
his
reps.
chair until he got back. Because otherwise, it would just fall. I had to hold it the whole time.
Oh, I
You
love
might
it.
even see it on the stream if we have with the
You
break
gotta
have a
there.
break.
But like
Stabilize the chair.
like
yeah.
I don't even remember which episode it was, but he had
Oh, so good.
that bow and arrow, that chair, and it just couldn't take the weight.
So good. Monica actually knew him the longest.
Yes, yes. I originally first met Todd for the company called Game Asylum, which is based out of Guelph, Cambridge, and it's like an entertainment trailer that they bring to your house for birthday parties, conventions, events. We did rib fests and stuff like that. And my all-time favorite memory would have to be when we had an event at a golf course. Todd had just recently taught my friend and I, Lavina, how to hitch the trailer, how to drive properly and all that stuff. And he was with us that day when we were packing up from the golf course. And we started driving away, but for whatever reason, we didn't move very far. And I'm like thinking, okay, since, Todd freshly, educated us on how to do everything. I'm like, did you press that button that has like the extra torque or the extra haul or whatever? It's like, no, I pressed that. No, everything's good. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. So put the trailer in park or the Hummer in park. We all go outside and we managed to take about half of the frickin' green with us. It got the one piece you're supposed to lift so that the trailer can continue moving, like almost like that anchor part. We didn't lift it, okay?
Dug into the ground.
So when we got to the back, we just see rolls and rolls and rolls of this green under the trailer. And we're like, oh my, we look at the golf course, it's like completely barren. And we're all just laughing our asses off, trying to pull the green from under the trailer, patch it up the best we can. We're like, oh my God, like, should we leave them a note? It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. Like, oh, I'll call them. I'm like, I'm so. What do we do?
The golfers that day going, man, 17.
The course is like this.
There's no green on it.
Put it on that baby. That was tough.
That's good. That's good. All right, Dave, you want to set up the first clip?
Oh yeah, did you did anything?
Well, I met Dave the same way, same.
Dave is right here.
Sorry, I met
We're
Todd
This one?
I'm trying to
Todd.
forget that memory.
the same day. I think that Dave did with our buddy Jeff Chan. We were playing the game in the backyard.
Yeah.
And man, that guy knew his character right from the first day. and I don't think I'll ever know anybody that can play a ranger and actually get all the feats down the way he did.
Yeah.
It amazed me
Yeah.
the whole time to be like, how do you even remember all of these feats that you have to possibly roll like the million dice that he rolled every single time? And I'm still convinced to this day that he was rolling an extra attack he shouldn't have been.
Oh yeah. We just
6 attacks as a ranger?
yeah. Which actually is a great caveat into our first clip, isn't it?
Okay.
I don't
The
remember.
rolling.
Which one's
Is that one of the clips?
No, I didn't use that one.
Oh, okay. Well, just so everybody knows, watching past streams, it would take Todd like 15 minutes
Oh,
to
gosh.
do the math on his rolls because he
I-
rolled them, and then he'd be like,
Yeah.
figuring it out.
Like a handful of
Colossus
dice.
Slayer and
But I was watching like a lot of videos over the last few days, and I was watching one part where he'd rolled and he's like legit using his fingers for a bit, and he's like 15. Like 15? It took that long. 15?
you gotta understand, Rick.
It was great.
He would, but he's also rolling like attack. After
Yeah, and
attack,
then by the time he did the math, his
attack surge and
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
It was-
that was
well,
what was so weird to me is because with Vor's character, you occur as a tank, literally, like this giant character. So in World of Warcraft parlance, I'm thinking Vor's the tank. He's the guy that we send in when, okay, this monster's got too much HP, let Vor deal with it for a bit while we all rest up. And yet, the ranger in the party would be like, okay, here's my roll, okay, that's 37 points of damage. And you're like, what? That's my first attack, and I'm gonna do my second.
Rangers, man.
Legit.
Yeah.
Right.
Legit.
It just, I'm not 100% convinced, but I do think that some of the ridiculous monsters that Jason threw in our path that he was convinced would kill us didn't because of Megil.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Like,
you'd better
we're on
drop
our
the
last night,
difficulty.
Megil's like, oh, I got 6 attacks coming. Here we go. How would you like to do this?
Yeah.
Right.
Balabar's in a tree.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh no,
No way.
no. Todd was the worst roller next to me when I play ever. It was so funny because he would go sessions without like hitting.
And how is that even possible? He had so many dice. How do you even?
I know.
So let's do the
So
the
upset.
clip first with the die.
Which one is that one? Do you know what it's called?
Yeah, it's called Lucky Die.
Lucky die.
Lucky Die.
And this
Lucky
is
die.
a time that he helped me out with one of his dies.
All right, so we're gonna cue the clip. Lucky Die. Tim is producing
Okay,
tonight, so
so
thank
you
you.
go off to find a gem shop.
Yeah.
You guys head down the street towards the encore. Don't really pay you mind.
I want to put on my set of fine clothes.
Right in the
I have
middle
a
of the
set of
street.
fine clothes. I'm gonna. Who cares? Okay, I build a minor illusion, a wardrobe. I go inside of it. I put on my fine clothes, and I get rid of the illusion.
Okay.
Minus
So-
the clothes part.
You change in the middle of the street in a wardrobe.
Yeah, nobody sees me.
People see the wardrobe.
It's fine.
Okay. They wonder why there's a
Oh,
wardrobe.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I come back. I want to say, good day, sir.
Okay.
Do you know where I could buy some fine gold products?
Gold products.
Yes.
What kind?
Like necklaces or earrings or crowns.
Give me a charisma check.
Oh, I'm good at this.
Or Royal Albert. Or Prince Albert.
Damn, 11.
He says, well, there's a shop about 10 minutes up the road this way.
10 minutes up the road.
Yes.
That way.
Yes.
West.
Arthur's shop.
Oh my gosh.
I gave you another die.
I rolled the wrong die. And I rolled an 11.
Which die did you roll? Like,
It was a D20. It
Oh,
just,
an 11?
yeah.
That just won't do. My best offer is 300 for both.
I have to pay some debts for my great grandfather's passing when he gave me these.
Deception check.
I'm using your die this time, so make it a good one. 20.
Your poor grandfather. What did he die of?
He fell from a tree.
Oh, you poor gnome.
Thank you. He was just trying to get some honey for his great grandchildren.
Okay. I'll give you both. I'll give you 400 for both, and I'll throw in the pendant for free.
Woohoo! I don't say that.
Okay. What do you got?
That's great.
Yeah, he's lucky die. Roll the
20.
20?
Roll the 20.
If only he could roll his own dice.
Yeah.
That roll, right?
Yeah.
And your grandfather died.
He fell
Fell
from
out
a
of tree.
He was just trying to get some honey for his grandchildren.
Right. The funny thing is, it was my great grandfather who I actually play in the other stream now.
Yeah.
Who
So
didn't
at some
die.
point, at some point, we got to set you up to be able to climb a tree for honey.
Oh yeah, he's got to stay out of trees.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Remember episode 7?
Yeah.
Can you set it up so there's lemon tarts
Yeah.
in the top
Yeah,
branch of a
absolutely.
tree somewhere?
Absolutely. All right, what's the next clip?
We can go back to a little moment with Vor. Maybe that one where
Sure,
his.
yeah.
Okay, so we'd. Oh no, let's do the enough.
Enough.
So we were 7 or 8 episodes in. We'd. Well, you'll hear what we did, but basically, Megil has. He was confronted. He's left our party to go back to his home village, town,
Yeah,
Sure.
his hometown.
hut to see his mum, and he sneaks in there, and this is basically the encounter between him and his mum, and he recounts an entire 7 episodes of D&D in the D&D stream to his mum. So actually, if you missed a lot of the first episode,
This is the
just
best
skip
recap
to number
there is.
8. You'll see everything that happened.
The
Yeah,
Cole's
but,
Note recap.
Exactly.
All right, go ahead.
Which is amazing he remembered.
Yeah.
You feed Rux. You head into the den. What do you do when you get into the den?
I'm just going to essentially rest.
Yeah.
Until I know that close to the time that she would be approaching.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to choose a corner back from the door.
Okay.
So that she will enter, and then I can reveal.
Okay. All right. So you wait approximately half an hour or so. You are looking your mother in the face. She places her hands onto the table. All I know is that our Rond has fallen. That he came to your service.
Aye.
And half of our kin that were part of his band fell.
What drew me to Nightstone originally was the, and I'm sure you probably heard it deep within our deep, was the loud, thunderous crashing to earth. And I knew not what it was originally until I went to investigate. And when I got to Nightstone, I found that boulders had been dropped into the city as though they had literally fallen from the sky. I've never seen such a thing. And I found out that it was cloud giants that had attacked Nightstone and took the very stone that it's named thereafter.
That is why we dispatched them.
Aye, and they came to our aid. Great help. If it were not for the bravery of all our kin, I'd not be here before you today. From there, those that I had met along our way that helped me in Nightstone, we went and we deep within our deep, we cleared out a goblin cave.
Yes, the Glimmering Caves.
The Glimmering Caves, aye, mother. We cleared it out, killed all the goblins that were in there and the trolls, and rescued those survivors of Nightstone. And at that time, we part of our group was a genasi. I'd never met one before. They're like a bluish hue and made of air, and we traveled with him to. We had gone back to water, or taken the townsfolk back to Nightstone, and at that time we were asked to take a message up to Bryn Shandar, and I felt that the people that had saved my life, I owed it to them to travel along with them to repay a life for a life. And along our way, the genasi that was part of our group, his adopted father, I guess you would say, as a cloud giant himself, Zephyros, had stopped his...
Enough. This is your place. This is your home.
Mother, I'll stop you there.
No, you will not.
Mother, we are the Austin
No,
Tulari
you will
family.
not.
We are defenders of the forest, not just our deep. We have a calling to all of Faerun. And what I've learned is that the great ordering of the giants has been wrought awry.
She smacks her
it's
hands
in
on the table, and she stands up. And she looks at you. She says, "You have forgotten, and you have learned to disrespect the Lady of the Wood and your mother. You will not speak over me." At this point,
what's going on? It's just that your mom's a Lady of the Wood.
At this,
and every time he says it, I crack up inside. I didn't even pick it up until. Okay.
Sorry.
She's one of those nights. She's right? Got such a reputation. She has a title. Okay. All right. All right. Follow those that don't know what's going on in a clip like that.
Lady of the Wood.
At these guys looking
God.
off camera the whole time.
Oh, man.
Oh my Just the look at our faces like we capped everything.
Every time he's like, and then, and we're like, okay.
Well, that's the difference in the RP, right? If that was me, I'd be like, all right, I go in and I tell him what happened for the last 14 hours of playing. Instead, he walks us through it all by memory.
Yeah.
Amazingly so.
Yes, he wasn't doing this much anymore. He was just recounting everything.
It's a lot easier to just remember it.
Yeah.
But all of that, and then after that, it was like you try to get. You ask us like, so what? Tell us what happened last time. Who'd
you mean with?
Are we alive? Are we alive still? Big guy.
We did a thing.
We did.
And now we're in a place.
Yeah.
We're doing something else.
You can tell it so much better, DM.
But I mean, even if we take that extra step where while we're playing, we write important names down or things, and then the DM says, "So what happened?" You got to unfurl your notebook and go, "Oh, okay. I think we met this guy."
Appendix C.
And, he's just like, and starts.
You can hear it actually if you watch it back. You
can hear him. The static,
and then
signal.
Dun, 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 dun.
Watching that clip though, I was saying, while everybody else was watching it, that it's amazing how far we've come as a stream. And if you look at the production value of our earlier streams, and just to tell you kind of like how our stream has grown, but also how our friendships have grown, and how we've all, like, just in general, how far we've all come.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I don't think that's in any small part, like, it really is due to the effort of everyone kind of contributing, and it's really been amazing, you know? Yeah. I'm going to start crying if I keep going, so I'm just going to not.
I was there earlier.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to
quickly
jump to the last one?
Sure.
So we're gonna run out of distractions.
Yeah.
Because this is the last one I put together. So this was actually the moment before he went off to his mom's house, to the Lady of the Woods home. We were in the yawning portal, and
Which had nothing to do with this.
No relation to the Lady of the Wood.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna get in trouble for saying bitch, and you came up with that. You came up with that one. Well done.
It's okay. Anyone who's watching knows that Todd was a little irreverent, and was exactly.
Right.
So I think Todd
Todd's
laughing it up right now.
Yeah.
He was
You
the
were
first
okay,
to
you're
jump on.
Okay, next clip.
So this was where we're in the yawning portal, and I don't know where we all were, but we were there with him. We don't know where you were.
We don't know where he was.
You'd hit a snowbank that night, I think.
Yes.
That's
Was that a euphemism for something?
You did hit a snowbank.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
I do remember that.
Because winter.
Because winter.
Yeah.
Canada.
And anyway, so as Megil's brother comes in, we had to write backstories, and we were never really sure what would happen because Jinx, he wrote a big backstory with all the names of his family members, and then we eventually visited his hometown, and all of them were dead. So at that point, we're like, if we want to.
I think you kind of glossed over a bit. I wrote detailed backstories for my entire extended family, down to cousins.
Yeah.
And I gave it to my DM and said, "Here you go." He's like, "This is awesome. No one does this. I'll be sure to use this in game." And what does he do? He massacres almost all of them.
But as if that wasn't enough, it was Halloween. So after visiting all of his dead family and friends, at night they came back to life, and we killed them again.
So for all of you players who are thinking about creating, detailed backstory, don't bother.
Don't include.
Don't even do one for your own. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So after that point, we were not so connected to our backstory. So Megil actually forgot his brother's name. So you'll see that because you're like, your brother's Seamus or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Is there? And he's like, Seamus? No. But you'll see. Just do the thing.
Cue the clip, Tim.
Just do it.
His dark, and you didn't notice him before, and he kind of like steps out between a couple of the patrons, and he catches your eye. His dark hair pulled back from his tattooed face, wearing armor much like your own, armor worn by the elves of Ardeep. There is no mistaking your eldest brother, Galiath. He says, "I have come to bring you home, brother. You must answer as a deserter. An Ostentari never leaves his post." As he stands face to face with you.
Galen, I'm surprised to see you this far from home. Galeth. I'm surprised to see you this far from home. But we also swore greater oath to protect all the creatures of Faran. not just those that take refuge within our own forests. We see ourselves, the Wood Elves has always seen ourselves as the sort of the protectors and the those that would bring knowledge to the other races of Faerun. Oh, that's what I'm doing, brother.
That isn't the oaths we swore. He kind of looks down. He looks across the party. Looks at you guys. Looks up at Vor. And kind of, his eyes rest on. You're not even there.
Yeah.
And he says, "You know, Mother will hear of this. She will not be pleased."
I send my respects to Mother, but there are things that I've seen, brother, that you'll never see in the forests of Ardeep. I've flown across the skies in a castle of a cloud giant. I've fought off frost giants and killed several myself, all in order to understand what's happening to all the lands of Faerun. I saw it myself in Nightstone. I don't know if you have visited it, but that's what led me on these long adventures, is that on Nightstone I saw great boulders falling from the sky. I saw the town that we held at bay decimated, not by natural means, but by rocks that fell from the sky. I helped save the folk of Nightstone from the caves of goblins and of great trolls. I've been on.
He kind of looks at you. He looks down at you like,
This gnome has been with me on many of the adventures, and if it weren't for him, and if it weren't for neither of us would be standing before you.
"Sounds like you've made your choice, brother. I was hoping I could talk some sense into you. You've made your choice. Next time we'll have to make ours. Farewell." He turns to leave.
Bye.
If you want me to hit him, I will.
That's my brother, Vor.
I could still hit him.
He stops.
Don't hit him.
And he turns around towards you.
Oh.
And he
What's
walks
your
up.
problem with us?
He kind of looks up at you.
I'm gonna stand on my stool. So I'm.
He kind of looks up at you like this. He's about this far. He says, "What manner of filthy creature are you?"
An abomination to you, I'm sure. Does it matter?
"It won't to my sword."
And your kind, does it matter to my axe?
Both of you are brothers to me. And if either of you does harm to the other, it'll be my sword you'll be answering to.
He goes, he spits at your feet. "Brother."
That's good.
Yeah, that was no small thing for Vor. For somebody to call him a brother.
Yeah.
It's the first time that ever happened for that character. So.
He, and that's just an example of how deep Todd got into his roleplay. And how seriously he took him. And how Megil was just an extension of himself.
How close he got with the other characters, too.
I think it's also an example of why people play Dungeons and Dragons just in general. It's like you're pretending to be someone else, role playing obviously, but you also get to experience connections with other characters, some you know, some you don't.
Yeah.
And it's like there are things you get to do that are sometimes deeper than the things you experience in your everyday life, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
And Todd, I mean,
he knew that.
Yeah, and he went through some tough times, obviously. Yeah. And he would always say, "Guys, this is I look forward to this every week.
Yeah.
This is my escape.
Yeah.
This is my time."
Yeah. And I think it's important, like, that at some point we broach the subject of just mental health in general.
Yeah.
For the night, and you know, now I think it might be as good a time as any. But
sure.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of people have said this has been a very, very difficult week for me. I didn't even know Todd as well as some of the others around the table, but I knew him well enough that, to me, I noticed a change in his demeanor, and feel like I feel to a certain degree like I didn't really take action when I could have. And I know a lot of people will say, you know, it's not your fault and all that stuff. I still feel a tremendous amount of remorse and responsibility around it all. And I think anyone who loves another person will feel a sense of responsibility around someone else's actions of taking their own life. Like, I think that's just an innate human response. But I think it's worth just noting that, you know, we can't do anything for Todd now, but we are putting ourselves out there to do anything for anyone else who's having difficulty. So if it's a matter of you guys reaching out to us, you may not even know us, or if you have people in your lives that you might think, you know, Dave mentioned this earlier as we were talking upstairs, just you might not think others are willing to listen. You know, that you think that even as a guy sometimes you just don't want to even talk about things because they're like, whatever, people don't care. Just take a chance on someone else caring, I think, is what we got to do.
Accept that the possibility exists.
Yeah, accept that the possibility exists, that someone might care. Yeah.
Yeah, like I, even going through and create, and after Joel had sent me the video of the song that he had done, I had to go through all the clips today of Todd in the last sessions and all the sessions just to try and find clips that I could cut in. And when you're week in, week out with somebody, you don't see it. And maybe it's because we don't have our eyes open as much as we should. Or when they say, no, I'm good, I'm just tired, we just kind of take that for what it is and not for what it really is. Or what they say it is and not what it really is. But watching the later sessions, Todd barely smiled. And I didn't notice it. And I should have. When he was at my birthday party the week before he passed, he was incredibly distant and quiet. And I remember he was leaving. He was like, I'm going to take off. I was like, okay, no problem, buddy. I know you got to work. And I grabbed him and I kind of held his face and I said, dude, you're not okay. Like, what can I do? Can we talk? And he was like, no, I'm just tired. It's just tough. And that's the moment maybe we should push. Maybe that's the moment when we're like, I know you and you're not you, and
not accept the answer that they give you as legitimate.
And not to say any of that would have made a difference. You know, when you're in the state that he was in, sometimes it doesn't matter. But just, I guess the thing is, and having lived it now, the thing is, if you have an assumption that somebody isn't doing well, don't wait. Like, don't put it off, because you just never know what's really at the end of it.
But don't think that you're alone on the other side, that you're the only one going through it, or that nobody understands what you're going through, or that they're going to think of you a certain way because you're going through it. If you had some sort of terminal illness, you would talk to your closest friends and say, like, this is what I'm going through and I need some help. Hopefully. But for somebody with mental issues, with emotional whatever, even there's stigma around saying that it's a mental thing, like it's a mental health thing. But we gotta get over that.
There's been a lot of progression in that, but there's still that.
Well,
you get a mental problem. It's not the same as having cancer or having terminal disease.
For sure,
it is. I mean, what is it that 25% of the population suffers from this? So.
And in our circle, he could have found people, including myself, that had been through a lot of what he was facing inside of him. Like, I was in in a very similar situation of being a single dad and very hard financial times and feeling like a lot of stuff was gone. Right when I started playing D&D, actually, I started thinking about that when we started talking. That was when I was actually at my deepest time, was when we started playing together. So use the circles that you have around you. There's people going through it. The exact same thing. You think you're the only one that's gone through it, but there's people that have literally gone through
You'd be
the exact
surprised.
same process
Yeah.
that he went through in those weeks before I went through, and we could have talked about it.
Yeah, you know,
And sorry, that's
No,
it's
go
not
ahead.
it's not about him necessarily bringing it up, but I could have brought that up with the group earlier and said, I went through this. I'm okay now, but I went through it. And if any of you are going through it, like talk to me.
Yeah.
So we kind of have this responsibility to say, I had the measles. This is how I got through it. I had shingles. It sucked. This is how I got through it. I had really bad depression. I wanted to kill myself. This is how I got through it. Just we can talk about it and actually save
It's not
people's
taboo.
lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that, and it's unfortunate that it takes a tragedy like this to realize how many people around you actually went through it.
Yeah.
And then it comes out, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, it's strange. I called my mom yesterday, and she hadn't heard. I hadn't told her about what was going on, and so I called her and told her what had happened to Todd, and she shared a number of different stories that she had gone through in her life with other people who had taken their own lives, and who were in the thralls of depression, and it's so funny because I had you imagine that the people go through life unscathed, like that they are great people because they didn't face any kind of challenges or something. You just like imagine them as perfect, and then you realize, no, this is common. It is not we were talking about it earlier, and I think it's true. It's like it's a secret not worth keeping. It's more dangerous to keep these things inside than it is to share them with others. The risks taken to share it with others are worth it, I guess is what I'm saying.
The courage.
Yeah, the courage to do it. I'm sure you learn a lot just trying to share with others, right? So anyways. Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of friends and family who don't typically watch your stream, who love Todd, who just want to hear about his past, including his kids. And I just want to say, I've gone through it this week. All the must-haves, could-haves, should-haves, would-haves.
We all have.
And we can't blame ourselves for it. We can learn from it.
Yeah.
And just be closer. It's brought the people around this table closer together. And it's a fortunate outcome from an incredibly tragic and unfortunate event. And I think we all stand to grow from it, and just kind of learn about humanity and life and what it takes to kind of go that extra mile, right?
That'll be part of his legacy, whether he intends it or not.
Yeah, agreed.
And the amount of people that cared about him and the amount of people he touched, even through this stream, and the fact that we were able to raise that kind of money in a week
that quickly
for his family is just a testament to the way that, lives were touched by him.
By him, yeah.
And those around him. And, it's something that I'll never forget. Because he was a really great person.
Absolutely.
Like, I couldn't say a bad thing about Todd. Todd was one of those guys that no matter what I told him, lips were sealed. And it wouldn't matter who was his friend, who he was closest to. I knew that it was a steel trap, and that, he would just be there for me. And, he went through a tough time and stayed on my couch after sessions because he was living in Sarnia at the time, and like we spent lots of time together in the last couple of months, and he's not here anymore, and it's sad, and it will be for a while. All right, go ahead. Do you want to say something? You're good. Okay. Anybody else have any last thoughts? There's so many stories.
The
there's
thing
so
is,
many things.
There's so many stories that happened out of game. I mean, you spend this much time with somebody, and sure, we got some great moments on camera.
Yeah.
But there's so much that would happen off camera, and I've been remembering all these moments throughout this week, and they're not all coming to me now, but I know that we've all got stories of Todd and who he was, Actually, one thing I remember at Halloween, he was just changing into his Deadpool costume right there in your living room. And I was like walking through like, whoa, there's Todd's butt, you know?
Yeah. It's Todd.
Yeah.
He wasn't shy.
Was it like a whoa? That's Todd's butt?
I mean, like, I'm not going to say I wasn't impressed.
Todd's butt?
I was like, yeah, exactly. A couple different ways to interpret those words.
Yeah.
Sorry for being pedantic.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think we can
Yeah.
all be a little pedantic today.
He was the first to jump at any opportunity to help too. He was always the first there to help me move. He was always the first there when I needed anything, when I needed a ride. Like he was just always that guy. Like he thought of everyone else.
Even for
himself.
Realmsmith, like
Yeah.
he was like, let me jump on customer support, let me jump on making sure the crates get done, let me jump on. He was just
production.
he wanted anything. He
Extra
just
character. fill a seat.
wanted to help, you know.
I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if did he ever miss a session?
I think he did when he went to, was it Cuba?
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. And that was it.
That was it. And like
30
He
was
was
always
always
there.
remoted in
He was
too.
always
if the
on
internet
time.
had been better.
Yeah, right.
always
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
Always early. And he always brought a box of samosas.
Right.
I was happy because he didn't be in my fridge afterwards and I got a midnight
Right.
snack.
Well, he was my foil. He'd always show up early. I always show up
Yeah.
late. So on balance,
it's
we'd
not
always.
true.
No,
No, he was. He was all in everything.
Yeah.
I know in volleyball and in all the other pursuits and LARPing. He's just a really great dude.
Like,
One of the good ones.
so one of the first stories I remember him ever telling me, when we first started playing the game, it was summer and we were in Jay's backyard, and so we, kind of just hanging out in this tent in Jay's backyard, and he's wearing a t-shirt and he's got these scars all up his arm,
Just like
and I'm like, hey, I hope you don't mind me asking, but where'd you get those scars? And he's like, oh, it was a shark. A shark? And he's like, yeah, it was a shark. I'm like, well, you have to tell us the story about the shark, Todd.
Yeah.
The first time we had to ask him to tell a story. And,
Exactly.
Just a flesh wound.
yeah, but he's like, whatever, it was a shark.
it was a shark. You
I
know
was
what happened.
surfing. What do you want?
Nice.
Yeah.
So he tells us this story about how he was surfing and the shark, bit through his board, and like a lot of these scars and cuts were from this, the
all of
actual
this-
his
the
board.
board.
Yeah,
Because like he had scars like all down, and like they weren't just like, they were cool scars. Those are the scars that guys want to be able to like go to a bar and be
Yeah.
like, hey, want to find out how I got these scars?
Yeah.
That is, I mean, for all I know, that's how he met every girlfriend he ever had.
Yeah,
is telling stories about those scars. But
Yeah.
I mean, what an epic story! And I wish I had committed to memory every word of it so that I could tell you now, because the way he told it was amazing. Just like, oh yeah, the shark, it came up and it like bit through my board, and the board was cutting me up, and the shark's teeth, and
then I swam to shore.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure the board cut up the
blood
shark's mouth
everywhere.
real bad too. I swam back to shore, bloody heap, landed on the beach, and someone rushed me to the hospital. I'm like, you swam back to, come on, man. It was,
your muscles outside
Like-
of your arms swimming.
insane.
So
Just
when
crazy.
when you think about the fact that we all talked about the fact that that Todd brought so much to his character, and was so invested in his character, and then you hear him tell a story like that, where I had a shark and it bit me, and I swam. I just swam back to shore like you do.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, no, Todd, people don't do that. People would freeze up and be in shock and not do it.
So if Megil had told the story, it would have been out there right from the start. But we had to ask Todd to tell his own
For some reason
amazing
he didn't
epic
like
story.
he wasn't
But
jumping at the bit to tell a
It
story.
must have been
when
humility.
you
or
learn
something.
what Todd did in the shark encounter, and you think, that's incredible, Todd, because people aren't like that. But then you also reference him playing his character, and you realize, people aren't like that either. People aren't that intense. And so if you reflect on what Todd's life is like, and then parlay that on or sort of superimpose his character, you realize that they're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
He was that intense. He was that. He was that invested in his life, which is unfortunately ironic. But in the stories that he shared, you realize this is a man that lived life to the fullest, right up until the end. So obviously, it's it's tough to. I mean, it's great in one sense that we're all here and seeing the love and support last night at the Underworld event. But as much as this has brought all of us together and closer in some ways, I'd love to give it all back.
Yeah.
Just to have him here.
Yeah.
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 You don't have him hiding behind that curtain by
Yeah,
any
no,
chance,
no, I
do you?
wish.
Because that would
I
be
wish.
fucking awesome.
Oh, he'd be the giantest dick in the world.
Take your spot.
That's one story. That's one story. We had a ship, like a boat,
Who knows?
on the stream, and Todd had a knack for running with a joke way too long,
far.
and like just like he found it funny way longer than anyone else at the table did.
Which, given the fact that Dave and I are at their table,
Yeah,
is a remarkable feat.
yeah, it's saying a lot. Yeah.
Because this man will kick a horse long after it stopped twitching.
Yeah.
Right? That joke's dead, Dave. You can move
I
on.
wish we made the montage.
And
of
Todd,
Oh, man.
God.
It was it was his Australian accent. He called it. He was like, "That's a nice dick," and he just the whole
Yeah.
Oh, up on
nice
the dick.
He's like, come on, guys, you say it with an Australian accent. It sounds like.
He walks out on the dick.
I know, I'm sure the first few times he was doing it in his accent, thinking, this is just my accent. And then
Then the light went
eventually the light went on and he's like, dick.
On the dick.
yeah.
Swallow the poop dick.
Nice.
And then,
That's right.
on
Apply the second coat of deck hardener. You're like, all right.
You want to get some dick spinners?
yeah.
Todd. All right.
It was good.
Oh.
Everyone
Most
above dick.
inappropriate joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't end at that session. It came back.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime there was a ship
Yeah.
or a patio.
Some
Or
kind of dick.
Yeah. Todd
Ship,
just,
patio, or dick?
Yeah.
Any chance?
before we move on, we have a ton of support in Super Chat donations tonight.
Yeah.
WHD20, Nate, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
Sirenscape
Nate.
just gave $2,500.
Oh, Jesus.
Rebecca gave 50. Roll for Damage gave, I think it's 20 or 200. Oh, what was it? Oh gosh, 100.
Yep.
Just thanks so much, guys.
Thank you guys,
Every cent goes to Todd's family
Yeah.
and his boys, who are really great boys. His son Aiden is in university, and his son Jude is in high school, and they need us more now, and that's kind of our number one priority. And so, again, if you guys want to donate, you can go to Gofundme.com. In memory of Todd Harris. Just look up in memory of Todd Harris, or it's on our Facebook group. If you go there, there's a direct link, and you can donate there, or you can donate in the super chat tonight.
We'll also put a link in the description of the video.
Yes, we'll do that as well. But the support for the family is incredibly appreciated, and the family is beside themselves with how much. Tim actually just put the link in the chat.
Yeah.
I want to thank Tim too, who is currently producing. So we're going to move into the next part of the night. This is not going to be easy. And for those of you at home that find this a little
This
weird.
has been?
Yeah, well, this is kind of, yeah, no kidding. But I just want you guys to be patient with us while we do this. We thought it was important that we kind of have a farewell for Todd's character Megil, who we've grown to love, and all of you who will watch on a weekly basis have grown to love. And so we wanted to make sure that you guys got an opportunity to say goodbye in game and all that stuff. So you guys are currently in Yartar. You've been looking for information that you needed for a riverboat. You knew it was a gambling boat, and you're currently at a standstill with the information that you have. All you have is a golden goose token that is leading you forward, and you've been in the last couple days canvassing the town, canvassing the city, trying to find where this is. In the midst of it, as I mentioned last session, for those of you that know, the reason why we knew Todd was missing because last Monday he didn't show up for our session. 7:30, I called him and texted him, and he wasn't around. And now we know why. And so in the session, I just said that Todd got a little distant and said that he was going to head out and look for his father in-game as his character because his father had gone missing. So as you guys, we're going to retroactively place this basically in the couple days after Megil leaves. You guys are all sitting in a common room in the inn in Yartar where you're staying. You guys have had a long day of canvassing the area and the neighborhood, trying to gain information. And Vor, as you're kind of going through your pack at the table, you find a letter, which you didn't realize was there before. And you pull out the letter, and there it is. And you guys can, what do you do? Do you want me to read it? As you open the letter, I forgot, there's a gust of magic and wind comes through the place, and Balabar and Manon, who you haven't seen for months, appear in the room with you. They're standing behind you, and you imagine that whatever was in the seal of this letter that opened up brought them and teleported them to the place that you are.
Well, that's strange. What am I doing here?
Hey, Vor. Hey, Vor. Wait, what's your name again?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not it.
Either you, hello. Hello, man.
What? Oh, this is very strange.
Why am I here? This is not where I wanted to be.
No. What's going on? Vor, what's that you're holding?
It's a letter from Megil.
Hey, it's Megil.
I think he's gone his own way.
And you got Manon instead. That's disappointing.
That's not a fair trade at all.
I'll just drink.
It says, to my brother's dearest sister. When we last saw each other, I told you I was leaving.
Read it.
I didn't have the heart to tell you he's going to be for good. Adventuring with you has been an honor, but the fate of my father has been weighing on me, and I feel compelled to seek him out. My mother has beckoned me back home, and I have arranged to finally retrieve the swords I had commissioned some time ago. My dreams of becoming a blade singer are fleeting, and I must follow my dream. To Manon, you're a creepy bastard. I do wish we had more time to tackle the venture together and delve a little deeper into that dark mind of yours. I hope the light finds you, my friend. Our adventures of late have greatly missed your healing touch. To Akantha, my sister, my kin, I've long admitted your connection to that which connects us. The nature of all things has somewhat escaped me, but you harness it with such passion, such conviction. Even though we've only traversed the Sword Coast for a short time, I feel like I've known you much, much longer. Long lost siblings, I say. I'd swear by it. To Balabar, you're a shifty bastard. You always have. You always gave me a run for my money.
Oh, God.
But I knew there was always a valiant, courageous gnome in there somewhere. I know you have more of a heart than many give you credit for. I know you paid for my swords to be smithed.
I will always be grateful for that. You've always spoken so fondly of your great-grandfather and how you hold him in such high regard. And could only aspire to be as great as him one day. That day is here. That greatness lies within you. I've seen it. Be great, my little tree-climbing friend. To Roscoe, you're a blue, flamboyant bass. Oh, never mind. All of our brethren, of all of our brethren, you challenged me the most. What you may not want to admit is that I know full well it came from a place of love. Steel sharpens steel. And though I know on the outside you seem like a flighty, squishy troublemaker, on the inside you have a heart of steel. Just wish you could get off that damn tiny butt with hut. That damn tiny hut when it was actually helpful. I'm sorry I didn't get the chance to tell you all of these things in person, but frankly, this is the only way you'd let me have the last word. Finally, Tavor, my brother-in-arms, may I ask you go out. Words cannot express the honor it has been to fight at your side. Brute force and finesse, dexterity and strength. What a pair we were. What hell we wrought on our enemies. And my only regret is that I leave you with Roscoe. Who barely knows what is right there to use.
You couldn't hear it because he was crying, but he said he barely know what end of the rapier to use.
May your axe strike true and your fists be filled with the blood of your enemies. Take care of them, my brother. We were the slayers of giants, the scourge of dragons, the bringers of justice, the purveyors of redemption, and purveyors of redemption. The defenders of Blinchander, the champions of the Sword Coast. It has been an honor. Will continue to be until the day we meet again. Loyalty and honor, Megil.
Lore, do you mind if I read that later, just so I can understand it?
Well, I say this calls for a toast.
Toast. Maybe to the horn.
Do you want me to spit in it?
No thanks.
Megil.
Go. To top.
Thanks all for watching. Hold those that you love a lot closer. You don't know how long they'll be around. And we love you, Todd, and never forget you, dude. And your smile will be in my mind for the rest of our lives. Met at our table, and I really don't know how we'll go forward, but we will. You don't want us to. And so we're going to make you proud as you could be. Thank you for joining us tonight, guys. To Todd, and we thank you for all your support. You guys have a good night.
Are we doing?
We're just walking.
Oh.
Let's go. We're walking.